Look at my next requirement. I want to write one more batch effects. Customer education. Now what is my requirement? Fetch all the records from the customer object and or delete the records. Fetch all the records from the customer object and hard delete it. Now the point is, in the customer object, we have 7,000 records. We have how many records? 7,000 records. When you have 7,000 records, what did it say? Hard delete. When you say hard delete, what should you do? Delete. Then, when you are deleting, how many records you are deleting? 7,000. Then from the recheck I am again deleting the records. Now, let us say there are 17,000 records. Then what I am doing? It is hitting more than 10,000 records. When there is a possibility of crossing more than 10,000 records, within a transaction, how many DMLs we can make? How many DMLs we can make? We can only make the DML operation of how many records? 10,000 records. If it is more than 10,000 records, it throws exception. So what I am doing? I am going like a batch effects. How do you implement a batch effects? Local class. Now tell me, implements database dot batch. Database dot batch. Then we are going with what is the first method? Local database dot query locator. Database dot batchable context. Database dot batchable context. So what should I do, boss? Get all the records. What is the query you are writing? Query select ID from customer. ID is enough because we are trying to delete, right? ID is sufficient. Then how will you give? Return database dot get query locator. Database dot get query locator. How do you give? Then let us go to the next. Global void database dot batchable context list of which object? What I'm doing? Delete scope and database dot empty recycle bin. Database dot empty recycle bin. I want to hard delete the records. Delete the records and empty the recycle bin. Then what I'm doing? Global void people have followed this. Start method to fetch the records, execute method to write the logic, finish if you want to send any email. Now how will you execute? If you want to execute only once, I will do it like this. If you want to execute number of times, I will go with schedule effects. You want to run it only once or you want to run it multiple number of times. You want to run it multiple number of times, schedule effects. You want to run it only once, you can go with this. So how do you write, boss? If you want to execute a batch effects, what should I do? First create a cd equal to then id job id equal to database dot execute. If I don't give the size of the batch, previously I gave a size called 5. If you don't give the size of the batch, what is the size of the batch now? By default you will take 200. If you don't take the size, by default you will take it as 200. If you want to give any size, 1 to 2000 you can give. If you don't mention the size, 2000. If you don't mention the size, it will take what? 2000. If you mention the size, it will take whatever the size you mentioned. The size can be anything from 1 to 2000. If you don't mention, it will take the value by default 200. Right. give the slice, execute. Then how do you track the status? One is I can write a sample query on async fx job. Or else I can go to what? Then how many batches are there? Go to customer and see. Data is removed. It's a customer account object. Okay. People are clear with this format. Right. Now, people are clear with this. Records are done. You are seeing the account data, not customer data. People are done with this example? Right. Let us go to the next example. So look at this example. I have a start method. Start method has fetched, let us say 50, 40. What is the value of how many records are there? There are 40. Start method has fetched how many records? 40 records. I took a value called count. What is the value of count? Then I divided the start method into 4 batches. I divided the start method into 4 batches. When you divide the start method into 4 batches, in every batch I am saying count equal to now start I can give. You are writing 4 batches. The start method is fetched 40 records. Now every batch will have how many records? 10 records. I gave 4 batches. I wrote a start method, fetched 40 records. Every batch has how many records? 10 records each. So what is the value? How many records are there in the scope? 10. The records in the scope is 10. So I wrote this object is count equal to the same logic I wrote here. This is the logic. Now, when this is executing, what is the value of count? Count equal to count plus 1. When count plus 1, then what is the value of count? What is the value of count we are getting here? Count equal to, when you say count equal to count plus 1, is the value changed here or here? If you make a change on the count, if it is changing here, then the count becomes 10. If you making a change here, if it is changing here, the count becomes what? 20. If you make a change here, if it is changing here, the value becomes what? 30. If you make a change here, if it is changing here, value becomes what? 40. The changes what you made on the variables, is it going to be affected for global or inside the exclude? If the change is only within the exclude method, whatever the change you are making, if it is only within the exclude method, the count will be what? 0. Again it is running. What is the value of count? 0. Again it is running. What is the value of count? 0. What is the value of count? 0. But within this, if we print a count, what is the value we are getting? When you print a count, it is giving 10 because 10 records you have taken, you don't count equal to count plus 1. So what is the value of count? 10. 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 But if I complete this, if I come out of this execute, the changes what you made on the count, is it transferred to other execute? If this change is transferred to this execute, then the value becomes what? 20. If the changes what I made on the count, if it is transferred to next, it becomes what? 30. If it is transferred, it becomes what? 40. Are you getting? The changes what you made on the data, is it transferred to other execute or not? If it is not transferred, what is the value of count? What is the value of count? 0. What is the value of count? 0. What is the value of count? 0. So the changes what you made in the variable, the changes what you made on the variable within the execute, they are only applied within the execute. Once you come out of the execute, again the count equal to what? 0. Why count equal to 0? The changes made on one execute are not transferring to another execute. So after running all the 4 batches, what is the value of count? What is the value of count? 0. What is the value of count? 0. Because changes what I made on the count, they are not transferred to other. If they are not transferred, if I come to this, what is the value of count? 0. Again, count equal to count plus 1. It has become 10. Changes made on these will not come to next execute. So what is the count again? 0. Again, count equal to 0. It has become count equal to 10. Again, the changes made on this count not transferred to other. What is the value of count? 0. Then count equal to 10. Once you have completed this, what is the value of count? 0. So the changes what you are making on the variables, they are not transferring to other. So if you make any change, that is only for you. If you come out of the execute, if you go to other execute, what is the value of count? Again 0. If you go to other execute, again 0. Other execute, 0. Are you getting my point? Changes which are made on one execute will not be transferred to another execute. Are you getting my point? Let me show this example. Concept is clear. So the changes which are made on the data members of the class, the changes what you made on the data members of the class will not be transferred to other execute. If you make a change, that is only for your execute. That is not affecting the value of other execute. Other execute again what? 0, 0, 0. Let me show an example of this. So let me give you. In opportunity, how many records are there? How many records are there? 34 records are there. How many records are there? How do you implement batch bets? Then we are going with public teacher count equal to 0. Public what is the value of count? 0. Value of size is 0. Then how you write the start method? Global database dot relocator. That's the context. Then how you ready? Then dot get body locator. How many records are coming? 34 records are coming. How many records are coming? 34 records are coming. I am going to global void batchable context. See on which set of records I am working. I am taking one by one record. Count equal to count plus 1. Size equal to size plus 1. Then I am going with global void batchable context. Here I am ready. Record A equal to echo. I am inserting a new part. Now, if the changes what you made on the counted size, if they are transferred to other execute, the final count should be 34. If they are not transferred, size equal to 0, count equal to 0. If the changes that are made in one execute, if they are transferred to other execute, total count of number of opportunities should be 34. If they are not transferred, size should be what? 0. Now how you are implementing? How would you implement a batch events? After batch, I executed a batch events. I have not mentioned the size. If you don't mention the size, what will happen? If you don't mention the size, what will happen? It will take by default 200. So phone number cannot be blank. Okay, fine. I know you failed. Now I am trying to execute. Here I am giving size equal to 10. If I give size equal to 10, how many batches we have? 4 batches we have. Go back to this. How many batches are there? 4 batches. Go back to account and see. Now count equal to what? 0. Size equal to what? 0. So the changes which are made in one execute, they are not getting transferred to another execute. So the changes what you made is only applied for that execute. But if you come out of the execute, again the count equal to what? 0. Are you getting my point? But according to my requirement, I want the data to be transferred. By default, the Salesforce is not transferring the data from one execute to another execute. But according to my requirement, data need to be transferred from one execute to another execute. If you want to transfer the data from one execute to another execute, what should I do? Simply, I have to give implements one more interface. Database dot. What is that? I have to implement one more interface. What is that interface? Database dot stateful interface. I have to implement one more interface which is called database dot stateful interface. If you implement an interface called database dot stateful, the changes that are made in one execute will be transferred to another execute. The changes that are made in one execute will be transferred to another execute. Am I making any change of the code? Only one extra interface I am implementing. Can a class implement more than one interface? Yes. A class can implement more than one interface. If you implement database.stateful, what will happen? The changes that are made in one execute will be transferred to another execute. Now what happened? The count will be what? 35. The count will be what? 35. But now I took two variables. One is a static variable, other one is non-static variable. If you define any variable as a static, state of the data will not be maintained. Even though if you implement stateful interface, state of the data will not be implemented. State of the data will not be maintained if it is static. When you implement database.stateful, whose data will be maintained? State of the non-static variables only maintained. State of the non-static variables is only maintained. So go back again. Execute. When you execute, go back here. See. You got what? Count equal to 34, size equal to what? Why is size equal to 0? Static. If it is a static variable, the size of the data, the state of the data will not be transferred. If the size equal to 0, the size equal to 0, why size equal to 0? Because it is a static variable, state of the data will not be maintained. State of the data will not be maintained. People have followed. So how to maintain the state of the data? By just define database.stateful interface. If you don't implement this interface, what will happen? The changes that are made in one execute will not be transferred to another execute. The changes which are made in one execute will not be transferred to another execute. If you want to transfer the changes from one execute to another execute, then what we need to do? Implement database.stateful. Even if you implement database.stateful, state of the static variables are not maintained. Only the state of non-static variable is maintained. People have followed this example? People have followed? If the state of the data is transferred from one execute to another execute? No, it will not be transferred. If you want to transfer, what should I do? Implement database.stateful. Can a class implement more than one interface? Yes, class can implement more than one interface. Right. If you implement this state, if you implement this interface, whose state is maintained? State of non-static variable is maintained. State of non-static variable is maintained. I hope you are clear.